Hey guys, this will be my first electronics related video, I suppose, but I just was wanting to listen to a new record I just got, this on vinyl, Galaxians from Sentient. Super stoked to listen to that. Turned on my record player here, and then no sound was coming out this mixer. Shout out to Marshall, by the way, for sending me this. This is like a used mixer. It's like a Korg Zero4, I believe, and worked okay for a while. Had some issues with the Q headphone jack out, so if you heard me mixing and it wasn't sounded all that great, that's probably why, because it's hard to mix when you can't really hear exactly what's going on. But it was good enough for a while. It lasted me for a bit, and just turned it on just now, and nothing was coming out. Tried to double check all the connections and everything, and then I just said, well, screw it, I'll just turn it off and on again. And now it doesn't turn on at all. So I don't know what's going on there. But I guess what we're going to try is open this up and see if we can figure out what's going on. But first, we're going to make some tea. I've got some peach Ceylon tea here from Adagio. It's pretty nice. This video is not sponsored by them, by the way. I just really like this tea. So I'm just going to pop some in here and hit go. And there we are. Much better. Now we're ready to go. Okay, I'm down here in the workshop. I've got my tools out. I got this mixer on the bench here, multimeter and all that hooked up. And then I've also managed to find, luckily, thanks to the magic of the internet, this, let's see if we can focus on that. There we go. I found basically the Korg Zero4 service manual. So that's fun. So basically we've got kind of like a overview of the externals, all the knobs and pots and faders and everything. And then we've got a block diagram, which is really nice. One of the things that was wrong with this mixer originally was the external analog Q output for the headphones was pretty distorted and noisy. So looking at this diagram, I can see that right here is the headphone jack out, and then right here is the SPDIF RCA digital out. And what I was using was this path because I found that when I hooked up SPDIF as an output for this mixer, it was fine. Whereas the other master out and the phono jack out was noisy. So based on this block diagram, I'm pretty sure that we can safely say this signal path going into all three of these chips here is probably fine, whereas this here looks like we have a shared trace here for these guys, and then it looks like there's a level here, and then a headphone amp chip. So we might want to look somewhere in this area, or if there's a common shared line on these mute buttons here, maybe there's something going on there that's affecting all three of them. Otherwise, I really hope it's not these D to A's that got all of them burnt out or something. That would suck, but we'll try to figure that out. I'm not really sure if I want to get into like surface mount repair stuff, because that can get tricky. So anyway, I'm going to try to open this up and see if we can figure this out. Let me zoom in here a little bit more just to make sure. I hope you guys can see that a little better. I'll kind of try to zoom in a little bit more. So right here is what I'm talking about. There's the headphone amp. You see this mute line that triggers all three of these. And then we've got our master XLR outs and then our RCA outs that are just kind of hooked in this, as well as the booth. I think the booth might have been okay. I'm not sure though. I have to tell. Well, I can't check now because it's probably broken. So anyway, we're going to try to look into this. When we had it plugged in earlier, nothing was working at all anymore, which tells me something's wrong with the power for this entire thing, which I don't see on this block diagram yet, although maybe... Ah, here we go. They just have it listed over here. Switching power supply and power switch. So, something with this now has gone bad. All right, well, we'll just try to open it up, see what we find. I don't know if I'm gonna find it yet today, so this might be a multi-part video, or I'll splice it together later. All right, so we've got our mixer here, got our toolkit. Looks like we should probably start on these sides, perhaps, or the... Let's check where the screws are here. These are all flat and a couple of rivets. Okay, so it looks like we probably need to start on the side. And these look like modules that we could pull out possibly, but I hope I don't have to. So I guess we will start on this side. All right, remember which screws go where. And I've got my handy magnetized screw tray here. I'm trying to put a link in the description if you guys are interested in this kind of stuff. I know my my multimeter, this is from RadioShack. Remember when they were a thing? Yeah. They probably don't make that anymore. But I'm just going to continue here. And would you look at that? Pretty easy to come off. So it looks like they just have a grill plate with some vent holes. Just going to put that, yeah, let's put it over here. And let's see here. You see that? Let me turn this light on. So it looks like this is a nice accessible device. It looks like we have some boards on the top for all of these faders and knobs and everything. And then in the bottom, it looks like we have quite a lot of ribbon cables connecting them. So, let's see. It looks like maybe our power supply is going to be in that far corner. So I'm going to go work on the other side. Take the other side apart. It looks like these are all the same screw, which is nice. That is very nice. We don't have to worry about mix and match here. They really ought to start making things more easy to repair, so that way we don't end up with giant masses of toxic waste in the landfill. Wouldn't that be nice? So a lot of these electronics, you know, some stuff goes bad. Like, for example, when I first was setting this up here, if you can see, this is like an old ViewSonic VA1912WB display. And it was nice back in the, you know, I don't know, early 2000s or something when I got it. Maybe 90s, I don't remember. But basically, this thing went bad. It started making really high-pitched noises all of a sudden. It turns out I could just take it apart and replace a capacitor. So I'm hoping this will be something easy to replace as well. We'll see. Just really hope it's not surface mount. All right, let's go ahead and get back to this. Okay, and it comes off really nicely. All right, so this one is the right-hand side. This one is the left-hand side. Not that it looks like it really matters, but just try to keep things straightened out. Okay, so it looks like we have our power switch here. So these leads are nice and looks like just crimp on. And then that is going to this board here. So it looks like this is our power board. This looks very nice and open inside. Now we just need to figure out how do we remove this top board so we can access this here. So it looks like this screw, probably some of these here. I'm guessing all of these, and maybe these as well. Let's see. There's a few screws up in there. So I think I'm going to try to remove those. Looks like that's a T10. What are these here? Those ones might be smaller. So we need a T10 for this guy. It looks like we just have a hex bit or Allen wrench. It just says 2 on it. So, all right, I'm going to try that for these ones here. Yep, that's it. Right, so we have a few screws that are hex bit. Okay, it looks like this is going to come off. So we pop our faders off. There we go. All right, so fader caps come off, and this will lift. I guess we should do that first. Oh, oh, all right. Okay. I think we need this one off too. All right. So these all look the same. Those are all off. Looking better. Now we just, I guess we do the borders. So it's all the ones that are on the border here. All right. Starting to come loose here. Oh, there's one there. Luckily, it looks like all these screws are the same type. Okay. One there as well. And look at that, it just comes right off. So this is our faceplate only. Right there. Now it looks like we just have regular old Phillips here and here. And then I guess I'm going to have to take off this plastic top faceplate as well. Probably access some more screws. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like these are Torx bit T10. Not security bits, just regular. And they just lift nicely off. Very cool. Wow, that's interesting. So the faceplate, when you're using the effects, there's like LEDs that light up, and it lights up these on the faceplate. You can see there's kind of like transparent plastic see-through to shine through. But there's all these like fins, these like guide fins, and then the board below has all the LEDs on it. Who knew? I don't think I've ever seen something with like a bunch of guide fins like that. It's pretty cool. Alright, it looks like we need to Unscrew these two. That one probably. And then work on this side. Just a Phillips 2. So far, this is looking pretty good to take apart and not have it be overly complicated with so many different types of screws and having to keep track of everything. Let's see, are these the same as well, or? Ah, here we go. So here's some smaller ones. So I guess these two faceplate are smaller. So keep those in the same spot. Just when I spoke too soon, of course there's going to be something different. Alright, so it looks like we got that loose. Now, let's double check what's going on with those ribbon cables. Okay, so which way do we take this out? Looks like this is sliding back and forth, but how do we remove it? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, there's a lot of capacitors on this side. Wow. And we got a nice grounding and bonding to the chassis here. So we've got a lip on this side. It looks like we probably have to lift it out that way, because it doesn't look like it slides sideways. It doesn't go too far that way. So I think it looks like I have to figure out how to reach in and take out some ribbon cables. That's interesting. So there's like a, I don't know if you can see that, it's almost like a twist tie that they were using to cable route this, just to tie it in place. Interesting. Alright, so it looks like there's a few more of those types of things in here. So I'm going to start removing ribbon cables. The part of this is like, I need to look at this video to make sure the right ribbon cables go back in the right spot. So let me get a good angle on this so we can see what's going on. So you can see what's going on too. We've got quite a few ribbon cables here. So I've got this guy here, and then there's like these little, get a better pointer here. Okay, so I'm going to point with this. So you got this one here, and then under each of these there's like some of these kind of twist tie material that was keeping it in, like some kind of insulator, and then like the cable, I don't know if you can see where this bend is, but it was like slotted in there. And so when you try to lift, it's kind of tugging on these. So you have to take these off, it looks like, and there's one over here as well, one all the way back there. See that? There's one ribbon cable pinout header here, as well as one here. This was in a twist tie, and then ribbon cable here. Got ribbon cable there. Pinout header down there. Same one in here on this side. This one here. Pinout header here. And then there was like a little one here. Little white one that goes to the small one for the front panel. It looks like that's actually the crossfader module. There's another one. There's so many ribbon cables. Okay, so another one here on this, which looks like this, is our controls on the front panel over here. So all these controls, and then here's our headphone jack out. So probably we need to be looking, tracing back from this. And then for the power side, it looks like the power side is on coming in here, power switch, probably going into here. And inside of this cage is another board. Okay, so then we've got some more ribbon cables up in here. So we're going to take out all of those next. Okay, so more ribbon cables. It looks like we have this kind of Velcro-y stuff keeping these in. It might be just kind of like a tape. Yeah, it's looking like it's like sticky tape of some kind with some felt stuff on one side. Alright, so this one goes here. So, alright, to recap, we have a board here, 2 ribbon cables. Large one here goes down into that. Small one goes into that one. It looks like there's another small 3-pin. 3-pin goes where? Where does 3-pin go? I kind of tugged out without me seeing where it was. It looks like we got all the things we needed out. There's one last one here. It says CN30A on the board, and we've got this little 3-pin plug here. It is very difficult to get out. There we go. And then this was that cable that they had routed from this side here. You can see that. And we're going to pull this out. All right, so we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different ribbon cables, a few 3-pin, almost like a fan pinout or something. I don't know. It's not, there's no fans in here, but if you worked on computers, they kind of look like that. All right, so we've got the front panel off the base. Now what? So it looks like these are just some Phillips screws. Another type of screw. Phillips. So it looks like there's 4 of those screws so far, and then 5. There's one on the other corner. Okay, so the cage came off, and we lost a screw. Let's get that back here. Okay, so 5 of those. Okay, so this board is now free. What is going on with it? I can already see this Zcon capacitor is bulging a little bit, so that is a sign that this one probably needs to be replaced. Can you see that okay? Let me zoom in. Zooming in. So you can tell, just looking at the side, this one's a little more convex on the top than this one. So you can tell in the shiny light as well. So that one's probably going to need to be replaced. It looks like we have a trim pot here that's been glued into place, so let's not touch that. This big capacitor here looks Okay. And then a transformer here. So this is like a power regulator, bunch of capacitors, and some very large wattage resistors. These are like how they used to build stuff. And then you can see, whoa, quite an array of little capacitors over here on the back panel, as well as this whole row here. So I'm not going to fuss over checking all of those, but they probably are fine. So I'm guessing for our power module, this is probably our issue. And for the front panel, it looks like our audio jack for the headphone is out here for the Q out. And then this looks like a control board for that. Just mount components here. Those knobs and stuff on the front panel are mounted on this board. So it might just be a control board. I don't see any real chips on that board. I think that it would go up through this to the top panel. Let me just get a better angle here. So we will probably just start with that capacitor. We're going to start on this board. There's quite a lot of heat going on there, though. I hope these are okay. Unless, well, yeah, it's been overheating a little bit here. Probably from this. This is bad. Okay, let's get light on this so you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so basically, this guy here, you can see there's like some kind of splitting going on there. Right there. And then inside here, this board on the bottom looks kind of toasty, unfortunately, which might be a bad thing. This capacitor here, this little one, looks a little worse for wear because it's looking a little overheated. These resistors look fine. There's definitely... Let me just unplug this. So that's where power comes in, by the way, this guy. And so it looks like this side of the whole board is fine. Nothing overheated here. It's all kind of centering around this area and here. And man, I hope these little pieces are fine. This may be too many parts to replace. I hope not. If I could find a whole board like this, it'd be an easier thing. But let's see how we can do with what we've got here. Now, which one is the capacitor? This is a 1000 microfarad, 25 volt. capacitor, same as this one here. So I'm gonna go see if I even have this part on me. And we will be back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. So, good news. I opened up my kit and look, what do you know? Same type of capacitor, 1000 microfarad, plus or minus 20%. And what do you know? Zcon, same brand too. What do you know? Small world. This one, however, rated to 35 volts. So let us, oh, here we go. Sorry, this focus is bad. Yeah. Minus 40 to 85 C, plus or minus 20%, and 35 volt maximum. So it's a little better than our 25. So let's go ahead and use that. Okay. So I got my board here. I was looking at it and I managed to kind of peek here. Let me show you this real quick. So managed to kind of peek in there. So see that right there, the bottom circle, that's where it's going in. And on the other side of the board, if you can look at where those leads come out. Okay, so see that half circle? So you gotta pay attention, which side is negative, which side is positive. See there's one side that has a shaded hatching marks in there, see that? And the other side is just plain. That tells you what's the orientation of the capacitor. You can also look at, on the capacitor itself, there's this minus stripe here. The electrolytic ones have like a stripe. So pay attention to that when you're putting the new one in. So I looked at this, found approximately where on the other side of the board it is, and it looks like these two leads right there, that one and that one. So I'm going to go ahead and try to desolder that. Sorry, I'm just looking at this and thinking, did they put that in backwards? Oh man. Maybe they put it in backwards. Because, okay, we've got two of the same exact capacitor. Board markings on this one, and this guy. You can see the same hatch marks in there. See under there? Hatch marks on the same side as that striped. This one here, not so much. It's reversed. It has the hatch marks on this side, which it looks like it's the opposite lead. So I really hope they marked the board correctly, but if they didn't, I should pay attention to putting it in the same way. However, it looks like they might have put it in wrong, and maybe that's why this has failed. So you have the primary, they actually labeled it on the board, that's pretty cool. So they have the primary side of the transformer, secondary side of the transformer, and then these are windings in the transformer. So if you flip it over, you can see this side there's some wires coming down here on this side of the transformer. And this is the AC power input, remember from our switch on this side, going through this circuit. We have some shielding here, and then this transformer, one side and the other side are kept separate on the board, of course, as usual. But they've got a nice dividing line here, which is pretty cool. All right, so this is a well-designed little silk screen. So basically, since it's AC power coming out of this, there's probably going to be a rectifier circuit inside of here somewhere. And whether or not we put this capacitor back in the same way, I'm guessing we follow the silk screen because that's all I have to go off of right now. But it looks like they put it in wrong, or this got twisted. So let me just take it out and see how that goes. So I got this really nice Weller Portasol. I like this one a lot. This is a soldering iron, but it's portable, and you can see this cap comes off, and it's got this nice little guard here that presses down the gas switch. So when it's in storage, it's like safetied off. But basically, this guy here, it helps to solder on large traces because it has a high heat capacity since it's butane powered. And you basically put in gas on the bottom here. So yeah, basically you put in gas on here to fill it. It's got like a little tank that you can view here. And then it has this knob on the bottom that you can change the amount of fuel going to it to change the heat. So it's not going to be as like accurate per temperature as you can get with like an electrical soldering station, but I like this for doing like big work because basically on this board you can see how big some of these traces are in here, like all of these grounding planes and things. Since this is a large power circuit, it's pretty big. So I want to heat those up fast and quick with this and then pull off the solder. I'll put a link to find this in the comments or description below, so that way if you want one, you can go find what this is. I would recommend it. This isn't sponsored in any way, but basically this is what I use and I like it. So the case for this is nice because it has a little, it's kind of portable made, so like you put it in there to hold your iron. And it has some tips and some sponge and more tips and a heat gun attachment, which is nice. But anyway, let me go get this ready. I need some water to put on this sponge. All right, and I'm back. So I got some water for my sponge here. Got my solder tip cleaning coil, and I got some more tea. Honey this time, so it's all foamy. That's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this up. So basically, if you're using this thing, there's a gas switch you press up, and then this one you press down. It's got a lightning bolt on there. See that? I don't know if you can see that, but basically, lightning bolt. Click this one down. Push this one up. Can you hear it? There it is. And again, just this here. more heat. But I think I'm going to go with the low heat first. So I'm going to put that in our stand here. And let me get my desoldering tool. Okay, so I found it. Techni tool. So this thing, if you've never seen it before, basically it's got a huge plunger. Push it in. It locks it in place. And you put this on the board near soldering, and then you press the button, and it pumps air back really fast and sucks the solder into there. So good to have one. I'll put a link to this as well. But yeah, don't lose this if you have one. I had to go find mine. Okay, let's start again. All right. You can tell it's on by the glow. Keep your hands away from that. It will burn you. Let me let that heat up a bit. Oh, and I need some solder. It should be in here. Big, regular. We'll probably use that one. Okay. All right. Butane, fuel, quadruple, refined. Okay. Made in England. It's been a long time since I had to refill this. Okay. I think it was that one. All right. Okay, so that away. We'll check our window here. Oh, there's fuel in there, all right. Okay, good. All right, let's try this again. Okay, back in business. Okay, here we go. Let's go ahead and do this again. Nope. One more. Sometimes it takes a few times to get it right because there's quite a lot of heat to build up here. Okay, there we go. There it is. That's a good one. Just empty that out so you can see there's like a plunger. There we go. Plunger to eject the solder. I'll try to get a better one on this now. There it is. Okay. Much better. Just needed some extra oomph and fuel. Okay. Let's check this. Does it come free? Almost. Yes. Okay. So as we can see, I pulled it out this way. And the negative was pointing towards the clear side, which is incorrect usually. And the hash mark side should have been this way. So I think that might have been the issue. I'm surprised it worked for that long, but okay. I guess it wasn't too bad otherwise, huh? Light here, so you can see a little better. Basically, boom. So there's your hash marked area there. And as you can see, we took it out this way. I think it's supposed to be this way, according to the silkscreen printing, at least, because the hash mark is on that side, and the other one's that way too. So, yeah, let's try to put the other one back. And for now, I'm going to save my fuel. Should probably turn that off earlier for a moment. Because I need to get this out. So probably one of the last RadioShack things that I have that never was used. Oh. So here's our 35 volt, 1000 microfarad, plus or minus 20% tolerance. We're replacing this one, 25 volt, 1000 microfarad. Is it a bad one? Plus or minus 20% tolerance. Okay, so let's hope that the silkscreen is correct. This is kind of a weird case. Usually these electrolytic capacitors do care about polarity, so let's go ahead and put that in there. Okay, so we have our pins sticking out. And from this side, I can tell that the negative side is going to this here, which to me, that looks like a ground plane. And is it? Ah, so we have a pinout labeled here, which is very nice of them to do. This is how they need to build things, because how else is anyone ever going to repair stuff? Or are we going to be forced to buy more junk and pile it up in the landfill for future generations? I don't think so. We should be doing this. Ground labeled on here. So we got 1, 2, 3, third pin up, and we got 1, 2, 3, third pin down or ground. So we flip the board. 1, 2, 3. Here's our ground. Tracings are hashed, which is interesting and nicely marked for us. And this side here is the negative side of our capacitor. So I am pretty sure whoever put this together did that in reverse by accident. I don't know why, but we're going to try to fix it. Probably an accident. And you can see 1, 2, 3, third pin up again, and again the hash marks. It's a ground plane. So yes, and they're both actually connected through this trace here. So I think it's safe to say that that is okay. Let's hope the other components didn't get toasty as well. Because that one's looking pretty toasty, but I hope it is okay. And that side of the board is looking pretty toasty too. That though, that looks like either a bad solder bridge job or I don't know what. That's not good here. So notice how like all these they have nice fillets, they're nice and convex and they're a little dull right now, so the board has been heated up, but and it's old. So basically we want to see that and not giant blob of solder on something, which I'm not so sure if that's going to work, but we will see. I hope we don't toast our new component. right. Push that a little bit closer, and there we go. All right. And 10. Once it heats up. This heats up pretty quick, actually. Once the flame is on, there we go. Pretty nice. And let's go ahead and clean that up. It would be nice if they would teach this to people more often. Okay. Okay. All right, let's take a look at this. Yeah, it's a little much, but hey, the board's already burnt anyway, so let's go ahead and clip the leads. Oops. So we have our happy little leads there. It's a lot shinier of a fill than the rest, so I guess it's got that going for it. There's a little too much solder there. I probably should have used the smaller one, but I don't have anything in between those sizes, unfortunately. So anyway, should be good enough. All right, so that is in place. I'm really worried about this guy here. Is that, what is this? Looks like it might be a resistor, but they put a, or it's a inductor. I hope it's not an inductor. What? It's not easily readable. We're 43, we're 42, and 3 leads. Let me just go ahead and test them. These are continuity test. Okay. So just to double check ourselves, okay, ground to ground. So those are connected to each other. Yep. This is not. Yeah, basically there's just a bunch of ground planes going on here. Okay. Yep. Well. What is this if not a resistor, right? Yeah. So it's probably a resistor. I don't really have anything to clean the board with right now. Alright, I'm going to hope that that's it for now. Let's see if it works. Hopefully we don't burn out. But we did put in a higher voltage rating capacitor. So let's just hope it's good. Okay, got our cage back on. Our I guess there's only 2 ribbon cables going onto here, and that goes onto the main board. I'm going to go ahead and try to put all this back together, so we'll speed things up. So on this side, there's a little tab indentation right there, and there's a little notch there. I was having problems because it wasn't going in. But remember that next time. Just make sure we step away from this side because it's the power side. And I think the power switch is here, so we're just going to try to see do we get blinky lights or not. Okay. Still not. Okay, so it's not just the capacitor. There's something else. Well, let's continue this later.